Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 8th annual BisonTank competition. Let me start with a visual description. I am a white female woman with blonde hair wearing all black. I'm very excited to be your MC for tonight's competition. If you believe it or not, today, 6 months ago, I was actually here presenting my business pitch for the alumni competition and got first place. So I just showed a video explaining my competition, but let me start by introducing myself. My name is Sabina Sheesh, and I am the creator of Sabina Sheesh Photography. My work was to break open doors in the glass ceiling for female deaf photographers in the world of arts. So my goal was to purchase a camera and be able to continue the work that I did as a photographer. So what is BisonTank? It is created by the GIEI program. It is held twice a year. One in the spring and one in the fall. This is an opportunity for students to get together and compete. We also have an alumni competition. So the BisonTank is to allow students an opportunity to provide business pitches, to receive seed money, to actually get to start and grow their businesses. There are 3 cash prizes for our competitors. So third place will receive $2,000, second place will receive $3,000, and our first place winner will receive $5,000 cash to be used as seed money to start their businesses. So we're very excited to see what our competitors have to offer for tonight. Are you all excited as well? I'd love to see that energy. Much better. Now I'd like to introduce our university president, Roberta Bobby Cordano. Please welcome President Cordano.
Not only did you win 6 months ago, Sabina, but you actually broke records here at Gallaudet in your sports and other accomplishments. So it's wonderful to see you here emceeing today.
Would you mind visually describing yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Bobby Cordano, president of Gallaudet University. I'm wearing a brown suit jacket with suit pants, wearing glasses. I have more gray hair than brown now, and I'm also wearing glasses. Welcome to the BisonTank competition. Really thrilled. This is our 8th annual competition. And this would not be possible without the support of our wonderful team here, faculty, staff, and members of the GIEI program. Let's give it up for them. And we've got Russ Stein watching on the live stream, as well as many others watching on the live stream. So I want to thank GIEI for carrying the vision, and our judges, Jared Musano, for the support. We actually met right after I became president, and one of the first things that we did was set up the BisonTank competition as well as the sandbox. Convo has been a supporter of this event for many years, and I'll tell the story for Jared, but Jared is a deaf entrepreneur himself, comes from a family of business people, and thought to himself, he wanted to build a business of his own, and that business came out to be Convo. And the support that Convo has provided this community has really been instrumental in the deaf ecosystem. When the deaf ecosystem is strong, our community is strong. And what I and many others believe is the biggest pain point that we have as a community is often that our wealth is taken by others, taking our ideas. And entrepreneurship is really the key in building a healthy deaf ecosystem so that we can all live a better life, supporting each other and supporting the community. So with BisonTank, we started early with young college students who are eager to pitch their ideas. I'll say it takes a lot of courage to stand on this stage tonight and a lot of commitment as well. From the first time we started this program until now, I've seen Lorenzo encouraging students to give their business pitches, and all of the students that have worked with Lorenzo and Russ, they don't leave untouched by this experience. This program really gives students discipline, an understanding of meeting deadlines, and really practicing and honing in on their skills. You'll see examples of this tonight. It's made me very proud. It's why Gallaudet University is here. And that's why we need to continue to create this pipeline of deaf entrepreneurs. And you'll see over the course of tonight, as well as throughout the weekend, folks here for the Academic Bowl. So please do share what you saw here tonight, as well learn more about what's happening with the Academic Bowl. It's so wonderful to see so many people on campus. And last but not least, the most exciting job here tonight are those of the judges. The audience will have to watch their facial expressions, try to gauge which contestant they think will win based on the judges' facial expressions. And then at the end of tonight's competition, the judges will have the job of choosing first, second, and third place. I will say the biggest winner here tonight is the audience, gets to watch this wonderful event and enjoy it. But thank you for the judges for bringing your insight and providing feedback that our students need. Can we grow with feedback? That's how we develop. And we grow in courage, and the ability to present to audiences like you. So thank you to the judges. Thank you to all the audience members for coming tonight. Really appreciate it.
Okay, now I'd like to introduce the GIEI team. We have two videos that I'd like to show you. First, the director of the GIEI. We can go back to the original slides for those people who are remote. And welcome Russ, who is joining us via Zoom.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to BisonTank, Gallaudet's biggest and boldest celebration of innovation, courage, and community. The room is filled right now of dreamers, doers, and builders. Now, it's not that simple. Today is not just about pitch and award money. Now, of course, the award money is a great thing, but it's about the journey and taking steps towards achieving a goal and betting on yourself, your idea, your passion. Entrepreneurship is not simply just about setting up a business. It's a mindset. That was mentioned by President Bobby Cordano. It's about looking at a problem and thinking to yourself, I know of a solution. It's about being comfortable with being uncomfortable and knowing that failure is not the opposite of success. It's the process in terms of getting to success. Change makers start exactly where you are. Look around at other audience members and contestants. You'll see folks that are nervous, that are excited. What you'll learn through this path is how to lead, how to communicate, and how to take risks. That will be with you for life. When you set up a business, or you join a team, or you invent something that the world hasn't seen, that will open up doors again and again for you. And the best part is that you don't have to take this journey alone. Again, look around the room. This is your community. Gallaudet University is the only place in the world where deaf entrepreneurs are celebrated with excitement. So take a deep breath. I'm a little excited, a little blurry too, it looks like. But trust your journey, trust the work you've done, and remember that this is just the beginning. Let's get inspired, let's celebrate each other, and let's get BisonTank started. But before I wrap up, what I really want to express is my deep gratitude for Lorenzo, who has been there with me from day one, from coordinating this event to hosting the Accelerator program, a 7-week program for our students, working closely with mentors and mentees who want to receive training, and working step by step to that end. Your dedication, your commitment, and your belief in this community has really helped BisonTank to thrive. So thank you, Lorenzo, to the bottom, from the bottom of my heart. All right, now let's get going.
Alrighty, good evening, everyone. Let me start with a visual description. I'm a light-skinned black man. I'm wearing a GIEI shirt with the BisonTank logo, and I am thrilled to be here tonight. My name is Lorenzo Lewis, and I am the GIEI coordinator. Thank you all for being here this evening and attending our event. I can't believe it is the 8th annual BisonTank event, and for many people, they may not realize that this is actually our third student was unfortunately previously here, and we wish we could have done this on an annual basis, but we are so glad that we are here for the 8th annual one. So let me start off by recognizing our important sponsors of the event. Our biggest sponsor being Convo. Our competition would not be possible without Convo. Especially Jared, one of our judges, who is an entrepreneur himself, who has created the opportunity for more deaf businesses to become a part of our ecosystem and to allow more entrepreneurs to start their own business. So we are thrilled to have a deaf entrepreneur to be involved in this and be an inspiration for future generations. So thank you so much, Convo, for your sponsorship, and Jared for your leadership. Second, of course, live stream anywhere. So our competition is hybrid this evening, which means that we have participants who are joining in remotely through different streaming platforms. So thank you very much for Live Stream Anywhere for your work and making this possible and making it accessible for people who can't be here physically. We are excited also now to announce a new partnership with the National Disability Institute, NDI. That recently came about in October. We received a grant of $800,000 for a 5-year sponsorship of the GIEI program. Without that sponsorship, we may not have been able to host this competition, so we're grateful for their work and their help, as well as our audience members who have been involved in our bi-weekly workshops that we've hosted as part of the BisonTank GIEI competition, as well as their participation in our surveys. Our surveys really help to showcase the importance of this program to NDI, so we want to thank both our audience participations and NDI for their support. Of course, we also want to recognize our student organizations, the Business Student Council, or the Business Student Council. So if you see any of the student council members wearing a shirt from the program this evening, please make sure to give them a hand. This is some of them around the room from the BSC. So thank you to all of our BSC members who are here. We believe in developing these important leadership skills. It's really important to empower those future generation and future leaders. So thank you to those BSC students. And the last sponsored is Together, which is a disability-focused sponsorship program. Without this sponsorship, we may not have been able to be here. So if you remember the program in 2019, we actually did not have any sponsors, and we had only one mentor meeting, and that was Russ, the director. His wife was the only mentor that we had for a 45-minute meeting, and then it was just on us to lead a pitch. So now, fast forward, we have our program where all of our contestants tonight have had great mentorship because of our wonderful sponsors. So big hand for all of them. Next, it's very, very important that we recognize the people who are actually supporting us during our accelerator programs, which is a 7-week program. We have Tiffany Rufa, who is one of our support. She has been involved in the GIEI training sessions, which are held on Mondays, as well as our CO roundtables. So she's been a sponsor for a long time, since day one. And if it was not for her, this definitely would not be possible. So we want to thank you, Tiffany, who is joining us remotely, for all of your hard work and dedication. Now you can see on our slide here, we have some of our amazing sponsors and mentors, Warren Snipe, Chico Flores, Melody Stein. These mentors are the ones who actually support our contestants on a weekly basis during the accelerated program, giving them feedback on their ideas and helping them to grow their own businesses. The last three listed on the slide here, they are our pitch deck mentors, and they are the finance mentors, and then also we have our coaches who work with all of our contestants over the last 2 weeks to make sure that they are prepared as possible with all aspects of their presentation to finalize their pitch. So tonight you will get to see the result of all of these students' hard work, as well as all of the help that their mentors and coaches have given them. Okay, now I do have to mention this. So Russ and I, our roles have changed in Gallaudet. So we not only work with the GIEI Institute, but we also work in the Center for Continuing Education. We provide online trainings and workshops, as well as certificate programs. And the reason I mention that is we actually are launching a new platform called Learning Training Center, or LTC. A lot of people have been asking for a long time where we can find more Bison Talks or workshops or different series. And so now everything is going to live on this platform. I just want to quickly show you how you could find it on the LTC platform. Now you will see some of the offerings on LTC will say enroll now that are free. So our Bison Talk series are free for anyone, not only Gallaudet students and alumni, but also who are non-Gallaudet community members. So you are not required to have a Gallaudet email to register for any of these Bison Talks. You can use your personal email address, which is great to access this free content. We also provide interpreting trainings that will be coming soon, and you can see those listed. It will say buy now. Those are at cost. So please feel free after tonight to check out our platform to watch some of our Bison Talk series. They are really, really informative, and they are very accessible, bilingual on our LTC platform. All right.
Thank you, Lorenzo and Russ. Now I want to go ahead and introduce our amazing judges tonight. First, I'll show you some brief videos from our judges. So those are our 4 judges. We'll have the video camera pan to them for our folks joining remotely tonight. And again, want to thank our sponsor, Livestream Anywhere.
Hello, everyone. You guys excited for this evening? I'm looking forward to seeing some amazing pitches. I think I have lost track of how many, but you guys can see my logo on my shirt, Caption Anywhere. So if you need captioning or live streaming service, this is a platform that specifically works for the deaf and hard of hearing community. So I want to thank our amazing captioning team in the back of the room for their hard work, and we look forward to a great evening.
Thank you. We'll have our next sponsor from Convo. All right, give it up, everyone. Who loves Convo? I want to see the excitement. Everyone loves Convo. I'm very excited. I'm standing where I shouldn't be on stage, but very excited to be here in DC. Convo is really an important product that helps create accessibility in the deaf community to make phone calls, have conversations using technology. And we're here not only to show our support for BisonTank, but also to show you a very cool upcoming feature that Convo is going to be having. So a very exciting feature that Convo is going to be releasing. So I'm a consumer success manager in the Northeast region. My name is Andrew Cho. You can take a picture of this QR code. We've also got a booth out front if you have any questions about Convo for Zoom.
All right, give one more hand to our amazing sponsor. You guys ready for our first contestant? So first, let me explain the format for this evening for our BisonTank competitors. So our competitors will have 10 minutes to do their pitch, and then a Q&A from the judges. So I'd like to introduce our first competitor, Tashina Lynn Sanders.
Could you give a visual description, please?
Hi, everyone. My name is Tashina Lynn Sanders. Visual description, I'm wearing a white shirt with a blue jacket. I have brownish hair, brown eyes, and black pants.
Are you ready to go?
I am.
All right, good luck. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So, this business is called Adaptive Safe Plus. Are you all prepared in an emergency? Imagine you're chatting with friends and you realize that you're not prepared as you thought you were for something like this. Let's say there's a deaf woman who is working in her basement and doesn't realize that there is a fire happening in her house. She decides to go upstairs and she smells smoke, but this woman doesn't realize that something was going on. The situation gets more and more dangerous, and she realized that there was actually a fire happening in her neighborhood, and she wasn't sure what to do. And her father picked her and her kids up and took her to safety. Now, if you imagine, that's a real scenario that can happen in our community. So, what is the problem? First, there's many emergency and disaster equipment that are inaccessible for deaf and deafblind users. Second, a lot of the shelters and resources are inaccessible for deaf and deafblind users. And third, a lot of deaf people have misunderstandings about what these emergency disaster communications mean. They may not realize the severity of the disaster or an evacuation order or the speed in which they need to evacuate. So, what is our solution? Our solution is, first, to create a website. The website would include ASL translated videos to educate people and train deaf and hard of hearing community members to be more prepared in emergencies and disasters, to improve awareness in the deaf, disabled, and deaf-blind communities. There's also a more explanation coming in the next slide, but we'd also partner with different organizations to educate them on how to work with these types of community members, such as the Deaf Plus, and deaf disabled communities. Who is our target customers? Our target customers or audience members would be deaf with disabilities, deaf-blind, and also parents and caregivers or guardians. As part of this work, we did a survey in the deaf community as well as outside of the community to identify if people felt familiar with emergency planning and communications during natural disasters. 58% said no, and 42% said yes. So that made us realize the importance of doing this type of educational work for our communities. So as part of our analysis, as part of this idea, you can see we have a few different things. We have Adapt Safe Plus, emergency kits, and Red Fora. So these have different limitations and strengths. If you notice that emergency kits don't have kits with specific needs, and Red Fora also don't have kits with specific needs. So what's great about Adapt to Save Plus is that they're more customizable to include all the things that our community members would need, as well as things like information for deaf-blind users that wouldn't be included in some of these more traditional kits. And these are kits that are compatible with the needs of deaf, deaf-disabled, and deaf-blind community members. In the case of a natural disaster, you can see that there's all these locations spread across the United States. For example, in the Southeast, they frequently experience severe hurricanes, whereas in the Midwest, they might have more tornadoes. The Northeast, there's high rates of flooding. So there's different types of natural disasters depending on which part of the country you may be in. For example, the West Coast experienced a lot of forest fires. So it's important that these different parts of the United States have different access for the needs that they would have. So the timeline for this business in the first year, if I were to receive the first place seed money, would be to develop a website that would include ASL videos to provide education and support in English and ASL for bilingual users, so that way it's fully accessible for deaf, disabled, and deaf plus community members. The second part would be to actually be able to purchase and acquire these emergency kits and to beef them up with the required equipment needed for these specific community members. Third, we would work with different organizations and agencies, first starting at a local level and then moving on to a state level, and then finally at a federal level like FEMA or different disaster relief agencies, the Red Cross, things like that, specifically working in emergency preparedness and disaster relief to make sure that they have education and awareness about working with these types of communities. And finally, this is our Get in Touch slide. It's important that you have deaf, disabled, deaf plus, and deaf blind community members involved in these types of emergency disaster relief conversations. So thank you all for watching my pitch.
Excellent. Are you ready for the Q&A portion?
Yes.
Do our judges have any questions? I'm curious what inspired you to come up with this idea. What was the triggering event that gave you the idea?
So I was part of the Gallaudet program for emergency preparedness and disaster relief. And the first year we actually were able to travel to Japan. And I remember there was a really bad earthquake in March that happened in Japan that a lot of people unfortunately died from, over I think 20,000 people. And a lot of deaf community members were affected by this. So I remembered if I, seeing that experience happen internationally, I didn't want the same thing to happen to our community members back home. So I wanted to be able to prevent as many deaths as possible in the case of a natural disaster.
This is Richie Bryant here, wearing a pink dress shirt and a black blazer. I'm curious about your proof of concept with regard to the potential cost of these kits to make them accessible for deaf or deaf-blind or deaf plus folks.
So I actually have a slide on that. Let me pull that up. So this is a breakdown of the different kits and the materials that I would purchase as part of those kits. So first would be developing a workshop and training that would cost around $900, and then continuing to prepare the prototypes, which would be about $1,200. And then this is an explanation of the revenue and profits. So first we would focus on usually kind of the more general emergencies, the emergency kit bundle. Usually like things like ASL books and pictures to help first responders to communicate with deaf and deaf-blind community members, and also making sure that the kits are built out to be able to work with all different types of people.
Ryan here, white male with short hair and a white dress shirt. Are you planning to sell your product directly to consumers or to government agencies?
So I'm still figuring out working with maybe nonprofit organizations or perhaps the FCC or FEMA, different governmental agency who would be willing to sponsor this, who can provide the kits for deaf and deafblind and deaf plus community members. So that way it can be provided to them at either a affordable cost or fully subsidized from these governmental agencies.
White male wearing a tan blazer and white dress shirt. Jared here. I'm curious, you mentioned training. How often would you have training, and how would that fit your model in terms of sustainability?
So the training would be for either schools, governmental agencies, or organizations and first responders. So with this funding, depending on the amount, I could use it to train different organizations, and then those organizations can then apply to then go train other organizations on how to work with deaf people in the case of a natural disaster. And I'm not exactly sure what that timeline would look like specifically just yet.
Any last questions from our judges? It looks like not. You can go ahead and vote now, judges. How did you feel, Tashina Lynn?
Nervous, but I'm glad it's over.
Now, the 7-week accelerator program, what was that like? What did you feel like you learned after that accelerator program?
Well, it's funny because before I came into the accelerator program, I knew nothing about setting up a business or entrepreneurship. I was familiar with social work, and that was pretty much it. And then once I went through the program, it was really interesting because it showed me how to start a business. It was very different from when I came in.
Yeah, there are many business owners. What are you most excited about in terms of this competition?
I like learning about the life cycle of a product. So from an idea to procurement to selling to revenue. So that kind of life cycle of starting a business was really interesting to learn about.
What was the most challenging part of the accelerator program?
Definitely the terminology. Understanding all of these business terms, it was really challenging. I had to go back and forth between Google and the textbook to finally understand what we were talking about. And I remember watching some videos that kind of broke down the different terms that are used in business.
Absolutely. It sounds like you learned a lot. For those that are not sure about joining their own BisonTank competition, any words of advice?
I would say if you have any type of idea, I would say go for it.
When you were thinking about setting up a business,
well, originally I got involved in the disaster relief emergency preparedness program at Gallaudet, and I was interested to learn more about it more nationally. And I wanted to set up a business because first I wanted to set up a website and make sure that I could educate and expose people to deaf and deafblind community members to make sure that they understood the importance of learning how to work with a community that's historically not had access to that type of information.
looks like our judges are still voting. Over the course of the 7 weeks, what was your favorite part of that accelerator program?
Well, I remember I worked with one mentor who shared their experience of being an entrepreneur and setting up their own business. And it was funny because I remember the business focused on, so my business focused on the environment, and theirs had some similarities because theirs focused on the cabins that they created. So it was cool because it kind of paralleled with environmental work.
I agree. My mentorship program really benefited me a lot, and I received a lot of great feedback. Okay, it looks like the judges have voted. All right. Are you all ready for our second contestant? Hello, everyone. My name is Matt Brandfield. I've got gray, white hair, longer hair with a little bit of facial hair, and a blue polo with a Bison Renovation polo shirt.
You ready, Matt?
Yes. So this is the name of our company, Bison Renovators. So I'll go ahead and introduce me and my partner. I've got over 30 years of experience in construction, building houses, remodeling, additions, and the like. I do also have a contractor's license in the state of California, and my partner, Richard Talby, in the audience here tonight, has over 20 years of experience specifically in plumbing and electrical. So suppose, it's raining really hard one day, you own a house, and you realize that you've got a leak in your house, or maybe you have a pipe that's burst, or your sink is not functioning correctly. You realize that there are a lot of these repairs that come up with your house, and you come out paying out of pocket for all these repairs last minute, and you pay a lot for them. So I did a survey, and I asked 3 questions of 44 respondents. 38 students and a handful of faculty members were involved in the survey. I asked if they knew how to do house repairs. 93% of the respondents said that they cannot do home repairs themselves. 100% said that owning a home is a good investment. And 100% agreed that house upkeep is the best way to maintain property values. So this is a checklist. It covers different things: the roof, the walls, kitchen, bathroom, floor, outside, landscaping. It has a host of different items that are covered on this checklist. On the left side of the scoring part of this checklist says poor, so in bad condition, needs attention. The middle score is okay, and then the last score is ideal. So I would charge $185 for a 1-floor house under 1,500 square feet. A 2-floor house would cost additional money, as well as a house that was larger than 1,500 square feet. Using this checklist, I would do a comprehensive assessment of the house, checking all of the various parts of the house, and then I would consult the homeowner in terms of what needs to be fixed and what doesn't need attention right now, and what's in good condition. If the homeowner were to choose to have me go ahead with these fixes, that would be an additional source of revenue. I'm thinking of targeting homeowners age 35 to 65, as well as older folks looking to age in place, as well individuals that own older homes that might need more repairs and attention. This map here in the green shows park areas where there are less homes, and then in the darker orange and brown are where there are more single-family homes. This is a map of the DMV area, so DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And you can see that there are a lot of single-family homes in this area. So I want to discuss some financial projections. I think around $8,800 to $9,500 would be required for startup costs, whether it be bonds, licenses, insurance, tools, vehicles, and the like. In this graph, you can see some of the revenue earned and then the profit as it relates. The first year we expect the revenues and profits to be pretty close, and then over the years that we're in business, we expect that gap to increase and our profits to increase. So this is our website. It's not finished yet. My partner actually made this website, but we are well on our way to having a completed website. And I want to say, let's build together. Let's help customers avoid paying out of pocket extra fees for house maintenance repairs, and let's try to stay ahead of those repairs. That's the dream, and I need your support. Thank you.
Wow. You ready for our judges Q&A? Turn it over to our first judge. This is Jared. I'm wearing a gray blazer, well, grayish hair, and black glasses. So there are many remodeling companies. What makes yours different than others?
So most people buy homes, and then, they hire a home inspector when they're buying a home. And that is about it. They might not have somebody come check out their home after. This business focuses on upkeep and keeping a home in good condition. Preventative maintenance. Similar to how you stay ahead of your car oil changes and filter changes to make sure it's running well and not costing too much money. So that's the goal that we have, and we want to do that with houses.
This is Judge Ryan. So you are speaking my language as a real estate person. Right, there are a lot of renovators in the area.
Ways to cross-promote your business.
And there's lots of different ways to cross-promote your business. What ways have you thought about?
So my partner and I have obviously created a website and plan to advertise on social media and spread the word. Worst case scenario, if our other advertising mechanisms weren't going well, we could advertise in the newspaper and other public options.
This is Judge Richie Bryant. So the $185 flat fee, is that a one-time fee, or would that be a monthly subscription fee? What type of fee is that? And you mentioned that this is preventative care, is that correct?
The $185 is good for a one-time assessment. Now, it might be in the case that in 2, 3, 4, 5 years after, the house gets in worse conditions and more assessments would be required, perhaps every year.
So the $105 flat fee, is your revenue based on that flat fee?
No, as I mentioned, the $185 is more or less a base assessment fee with the goal of identifying areas that need attention from our company. And if the consumer wanted, we could go ahead and make those repairs at an additional cost.
Follow-up question. So the fee that you were talking about, does that include the renovation work, or that is just the inspection, and then you would have additional contracts added on based on the state of the property? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Do you want me to expand on that?
If you would like.
So, for example, suppose I'm giving an assessment on a house and the roof turns up as in poor condition. I would consult the customer, ask them if they would want to go ahead with a repair, and then I would have to assess whether we were going to do a repair or replace the whole roof, and we'd provide a quote to make that renovation or repair on top of that $185 fee.
This is Judge Daniela. So you mentioned the cost. So the seed money would not cover that cost. So I'm curious what your strategy is to make up the difference from your first year revenue.
So I did buy a van from auction already, and I have invested myself as a bootstrapped sort of founder of this Bison Renovators. which is often the case with home improvement. You might have, for example, I have a contractor's license in the state of California. Unfortunately, it's non-transferable, so there are some fees that I would have to come out of pocket for.
All right, that is it on our time. How did you feel, Matt?
I felt pretty good, confident.
Great. So you were part of the 7-week accelerator program. What was your favorite part?
The mentorship. My mentor really gave me insights that I would have never thought about on my own, and I am really appreciative of the mentor that was working with me.
Do you mind explaining for those people who don't know what the accelerator program is? What did you do in those 7 weeks?
So the accelerator program has different workshops that are involved, as well as informational sessions where you're learning about specific vocabulary, also developing a first, second, third year plan. So I'm very thankful to the accelerator program for that.
So after the program, did you notice a difference in how you envisioned your business?
When I started the accelerator program, I was sort of a know-it-all. I thought that I knew everything that I needed to know with regard to starting this business, and I really changed my outlook on that after the accelerator program.
So when you worked with a mentor to develop your pitch, what did you notice?
Well, my mentor was really skilled with graphic design, so how they were able to turn sort of my vision into a reality with regard to graphic design, to create a web page, for example, that was an enormous help, and I'm very appreciative for that.
What advice do you have to students who are on the fence about getting involved in the 7-week accelerator program?
It's worth it to cultivate your desires and passion. If you have an idea, you should go ahead and do it. I think passion, though, is really going to be important in terms of bringing you success in the program.
I agree. Hopefully you all in the audience can sign up next spring and pitch your business ideas.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
So what is your next goal after you complete this BisonTank competition?
That's a good question. I'm not. I came to Gallaudet for school, and I'm taking classes here on Tuesday and Thursday, which means Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I actually don't have any classes. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm out and about and working. And then Tuesday and Thursday, I'm learning how to manage my time and focus on classes.
If anybody needs renovation work, Matt's got you.
Free of charge. Only kidding.
All right. Has everyone enjoyed the BisonTank presentation so far? All right. Thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you all.
Okie doke.
Our next contestant can come on stage. Visual description, please.
I am a woman wearing brown hair. I have a nose piercing. I have a black turtleneck with black pants and nice shoes on.
You ready to go?
Yes. Okay, so I'm really excited to share this vision with you. This is going to be the Buff Roast Coffee Shop, which is student-run here at Gallaudet University. So before I explain my vision, I want to talk about my background and my experience and my idea in the Buff Roast. So if you're familiar with the Signing Starbucks, I was one of the first employees there in 2018. It was a wonderful community of deaf managers, deaf baristas, and deaf employees. It was one of the first deaf-run places I had ever been. It was an amazing experience for me. So my first 3 months working at the Signing Starbucks, I was promoted to trainer and then finally to supervisor. And it was an amazing year. Fast forward to 2020, I worked at Peregrine Coffee, which is at Union Market. That was so that has been my barista and coffee experience. So I do know how to make coffee. And before working at the Signing Starbucks, I actually hated coffee, and now I'm obsessed with coffee. So all my experience and all the opportunities I've had, the memories I've created, has brought me to where I'm here to now, pitching to you all. So I realized that something was missing in the community. Really a social hub for everyone to gather and share coffee on campus, as well as student-run businesses. There are 0 student-run businesses here on campus, and I want to change that. That really affects student morale and student connection and collaboration. So first, I wanted to survey the deaf community's thoughts on businesses. The overwhelming response I got was yes, people wanted us to have a deaf-run coffee roast business that celebrated ideas, entrepreneurships of the deaf ecosystem and economy. So what makes this different than other coffee shops? So yes, it's student run, obviously. It would be led by students. And it's not just a coffee shop, it's also mobile. So it's something where students can actually gain real world experience and create a hub. And it's a movement, and it's able to help students to learn to inspire, to create their own business and learn leadership skills that they can take off into their own world, as well as be centered in a post-secondary higher educational environment. So I don't want to make this too complicated. Basically the seed funding would finance the espresso equipment that is needed for the business. And we're looking at mostly donations and other sponsors to raise the other funds necessary for starting the shop. And it can be very profitable running a coffee shop. And it's a way of putting the money back into the economy of the deaf economy and capitalizing on lost revenue that wouldn't otherwise go to deaf communities. So this is a 2-year timeline, and there's a reason that I expanded it to 2 years. I'm sure many of you know that the current library, the Learning Center, is going to be under renovation starting this fall. So I created a 2-year timeline. So there is a plan to relocate the current coffee shop to the soon renovated library. And they're interested in bringing in outside partners, but I thought, why not have a deaf-run, student-run coffee shop that reflects Gallaudet's values? So starting this fall, the beginning of the timeline, we would start the MVP process. While the library is being renovated, we would have a mobile cart that could be set up around campus. And during those 2 years, we would recruit feedback, potential student interest, and get feedback so that way we can improve and train these few student baristas over that time. And then we would start another cycle of training. And then hopefully by the end of the 2 years, when renovations have been complete, we can set up a permanent space in the new renovated library. But the campus vision starts with us. So what is the vision? We would love to see opportunities at the library. We could see representation. And now Richard is the current architect who is working with Davina, the campus service coordinator, to actually design the new renovated library, which is great, but we want to be part of that process as well. We want students involved in it. So it's not going to be just my shop, it's going to be your shop. That's the vision for the Buff Roast coffee shop. So basically my goal is this, is to set up a space where everyone can gather and celebrate Deaf Pride and celebrate our herd. And really to inspire other students to create more businesses, not only with coffee, but with food and other types of businesses. I want that, and I'm sure you all want that too. And it would also support student-run entrepreneurship and innovation. Thank you all.
Great. Excellent job.
Does anybody else love coffee? I know there's more hands than that.
You ready for Q&A?
Sure.
So I was a student here over 10 years ago, and there had been ideas to set up a food shop or coffee shop on campus. So it's a great idea, but one problem is people that have these ideas graduate, and then the idea dies. How is this sustainable after you are no longer here anymore?
So I actually graduate in May, but I'm going into a graduate program, so I'll be here for the next few years. But I also have a replacement plan with somebody else that if I were to be not in this position, so I'll be here for 3 years, for the next 3 years. That's already locked in as part of my graduate program. So after the 3 years that I will be here, obviously life happens, things could change, but there would be a sustainability plan in place to replace me.
I love your thought process with this. What is the model we refer to as continuous discovery, and collecting feedback from students to bring that to the university, and continuing that cycle is great. And I think it's going to keep the idea of a coffee shop interesting for students in the universities. So, because there's the philosophy behind this that things change, so you have to be ready to change with it. So we do have a coffee booth or shop in the G area of Gallaudet. How will your shop conflict or not with that shop?
So I was talking with Davina. So there was discussion about having a pop-up shop where we could do a test run on the days that the G area Starbucks would be closed. And if students prefer our pop-up shop, then it would replace the current standing Starbucks.
I think it's a great idea. A lot of other universities have these kinds of stores run by students. I'm wondering if you'd be open to a partnership.
Right. Well, that's part of the survey. We want to get as much feedback as possible from students. Some of the students have mentioned that, having competition on campus, having more than one would be, okay, because we are a small campus. So I'm not against having competition and giving students the right to choose which one they prefer.
Question. I notice there are sort of two types of coffee shops. Internet-based, where people bring their laptops and stay all day doing their work. And then other coffee shops where there are no access to internet, and really the goal is to grab your coffee and go. What kind of coffee shop are you thinking?
Sure. So in the next 2 years, it's not very accessible for our pop shop. So we're either talking about the LORH6 or down in the basement in Marketplace. So those are the two that we've discussed as potential locations for our pop shop. So I would prefer down in the Marketplace. So right next to Rascal, there's a student kitchen. I think it would be a really great space to utilize. Or Dorm 6, there is that kind of offshoot with all the seats that we could occupy. So those are the two options currently.
Daniela here. This topic has come up. I was a recent student as well. In terms of being more sustainable and having these deaf-run shops on campus.
Right. Well, I think in the next 2 years, we're definitely going to have to think about a temporary location that would be accessible for students.
All right. If the judges could go ahead and vote. When and how did you find out about the BisonTank competition?
So this is the second time I'm part of the BisonTank competition. I was involved in it last year. Remind me what your question?
Why did you sign up?
I guess just passion. I think GIEI is a really good institution that is part of Gallaudet that's very unique. It's deaf-centric. It's accessible in American Sign Language. So that accessibility, I think, really helps to plan you for the outside world. It's not just planning for the competition, but it helps to prepare you for other types of business competitions as well.
So many business owners do start multiple companies, so it's a great example of trying after maybe your first time wasn't as successful.
I think a big part of my plan after the accelerated program is to get involved with networking. I think networking is a really important part of this.
Yeah, networking is really important. When you can connect to someone, you never know where that connection might lead. What was your favorite part of the mentoring experience?
My favorite part was learning about consulting, but also the networking. So learning how to connect with different types of people, how to talk to investors, how to talk to people who are trying to share ideas. So my mentors were really wonderful. I really enjoyed that experience, and the mentorship program is one of a kind.
It's a free program too, as well.
And it's offered year round. So any students who want to be involved in the mentorship program can.
You mentioned this is your second time being involved in this competition. After the program, do you felt like you learned something new about starting a coffee shop?
Yeah, I learned a lot about the different types of products. So, for example, the minimal viable products. It really taught me a lot about how to scale my idea. So that was a really big learning point.
I'd love to see a coffee shop on campus. How about our attendees here? I tend to be a morning, noon, and evening coffee drinker.
I'm a 2-a-day kind of person.
One more question for you. If you could do it over again with a new idea, would you?
I mean, I probably would. I have a lot of different ideas. I think the key it comes back to is passion. Knowing your passion and keeping up with it, I think, is really important. So, just keeping up with something, whatever it is.
For folks who might be hesitant to get involved in the competition, what advice do you have for them?
Well, I did have a lot of anxiety about getting involved in the program, and I was able to work with Lorenzo and one of the other mentors, and I really got more clarity on this idea, and getting their encouragement, because I didn't know if students would support this idea or not, and they really helped me to overcome that doubt. And so from my experience, it was really positive, and I think this is such a unique opportunity. You just have to capitalize on it.
Thank you. Where's our next contestant?
Okay, if you could be a little bit to the left, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and providing a visual description.
Sure. My name is Abdul Sani, and I have black skin. I'm wearing a black watch and a dark blue polo shirt. So, Victory Art Hub. My partner and I started Victory Art Hub. My partner is Victor Satali. So my goal is to create a center that provides artistic training and career opportunities for the deaf community in Namibia and Zimbabwe. Zambia. So the goal, of course, would be to provide motivation and inspiration and close the gap for deaf artists. So my partner and I were talking about education, where deaf education in Zambia ends at grade 12, and there are limited work opportunities and educational opportunities. So the goal here is to create more opportunities for deaf folks. And everyone loves art, right? Did you all see this piece of art? This is me and my partner who made this. And then there's a deaf artist here, age 4. So the goal is to provide training that can lead to work opportunities after the training. If I receive award money, my goal is to establish trainings in Africa as well as an art center. I want to partner with deaf schools and businesses as well. Everyone loves pictures, right? So the first goal in the first year is to open the center and enroll the first initial students, and then focus on business partnerships. In the third year, we want to expand student enrollment and start some exhibitions. And then in the fourth year, we want to launch an online store for global reach. In the fifth year, we want to introduce an art certification program for our students. So we know that social media has a lot of power. We plan to spread the word on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As well, we want to partner with art organizations and galleries and have community outreach programs, and then direct sales as well. We could also offer corporate orders for office decor based on consumers' desires. So a picture, of course, is worth 1,000 words, right? This is a different African artist. And this is a call to action to invest in my business. There's a QR code here where you can get access to more information about our art training as well as our art center. Thank you all, and much love to African culture.
Nope, you're staying put? Okay, are you ready for the Q&A from our judges?
Yes.
This is Judge Ritchie. So in one of the slides you mentioned about partnerships with the NGO. The NGO that you mentioned, is that the same federal agency that was under USAID?
So this could be churches, schools, other organizations, not necessarily government agencies.
So you mentioned different ways of creating revenue with partnerships and selling artwork. Which is your largest stream of revenue?
Selling artwork would be the largest portion of the revenue that we would earn.
This is Judge Daniela. In your first year, you were talking about hosting different workshops. What is your way of achieving that goal? First year is free.
First year would be free with the goal of attracting people in our program, and then we would bolster that over time.
How do you plan on, from a marketing perspective, getting more eyes on this? Because it seems like a very small niche. So I'm curious, what is your advertising strategy? You mentioned Facebook and social media, but what's going to make you stand out and get people to believe and purchase your art? What's your hook?
So my partner and I intend to spread the word through Instagram and social media and the like, and be very active on the social media platforms.
And who are the artists that you mentioned? Just you and your partner?
Victor.
Okay. And then are you open to working with other artists, or is it just going to be you and your partner?
Just the two of us to set up this Victory Art Hub.
And I missed, where's your studio based?
In Zambia, Central Africa. Thank you for clarifying that.
And what is the percentage of your revenue that would go back and support schools in Zambia?
I think about 10 to 20%, but we would know more once we sort of got to that stage.
So 10 years down the road, how would you define success?
Well, the goal would be to get the word out as far as East Africa, in Rwanda, but initially starting in Zambia. But the goal would be to expand.
Okay, are there any more questions from our judges? If not, our judges can tally their votes. Oh, I'm sorry, there is one more question. The last question is, where do you think is the best location to sell art? Are you planning on selling most of your artwork in the United States or in Africa?
We plan to sell artwork online, but our art hub would be in Africa.
All right, great. How do you feel?
Good. I feel like a fire is burning inside of me. It feels like 1,000 degrees in here.
Great. So what inspired you to sign up for this competition?
Actually, a member in the audience, classmate, encouraged me to sign up for this competition and really inspired me.
All right, big hand for that person who gave you that nudge. So you were part of the 7-week accelerator program. What was your favorite part?
I really loved learning about different business models, and reading about business models was a little bit overwhelming, but with the support of our mentors, coaches, and teachers, really learned a lot about different business models. So hats off to them.
Great. Were you familiar with business before you joined the accelerated program? And after you completed the accelerated program, what did you learn that was different than before you started it?
Oh, I learned so much about the process of establishing a business, forecasting, budgeting. So I think there's still more to learn, but I've learned so much.
So you can see there's a lot of support in the accelerated program. If you're on the fence about joining, I really encourage you to join.
Yeah, absolutely would encourage you all to give it a go.
Okay, what's next for you?
Goal is to open up exhibits in Zambia and start the art hub. That's my goal.
Okay, I think we have one more judge that is still casting their vote. What was your favorite part of the mentorship program?
I loved just sharing business ideas with other mentors and peers and receiving continual training during that 7 months, as well as having access to an ASL coach. It was a big help. And Thad Brown specifically was an enormous help to me in the accelerator program.
Well, great pitch and great PowerPoint. I think our judges have finished casting their last vote. How is our audience doing? Is they enjoying it so far?
Everyone loves African culture, right? You gotta love the vibe.
Yeah, and you got to go out and buy his artwork.
Yeah, I'll be around if anyone wants to network.
All right, well, thank you so much. Now, our last but not least competitor. Hello, everyone. I am so happy to be here tonight.
If you could introduce yourself and provide an image description.
Hi, everyone. My name is Levi Wood. I am wearing a black overcoat and an orange tie and black clothes, and I've got some colorful shoes. I've got some Doc Marten shoes, and I'm a white man.
All right, you ready to go?
I sure am.
Good luck.
Alrighty, hello everyone. I am pleased to present you with a new learning platform. So first I want to give you a little bit of a backstory about a girl I met. This hearing girl named Nicole. Nicole was really interested in learning sign language, and she loved signing music. Something like this.
Oh my God, you're like
So this is a hearing girl who was interested in learning sign language in high school, and she wanted to perfect her ASL. And what she was told is that if you want to learn sign language, you could use Omega, which is a way that you can connect with different people and you can add a hashtag for deaf people. And every time she met somebody, it was always a hearing person on this platform. There were so many hearing people trying to learn sign language that wanted to work with a deaf person. Here is some stats to prove that. So really what this talks about is there is clear evidence that there needs to be one-on-one training from deaf signers, and there's a high demand for this. The problem is, let me explain. The problem is that there is a gap between the beginner and the fluent signer. The immediate signer has a lot more of a hard time finding good resources. Beginner signers, it's really easy to learn basic ASL signs, and fluent signers have a much easier time practicing their signs. But for the intermediate signer, there's not a lot of resources that are available. So what are we going to do? I'd like to introduce you to this. This is the perfect solution for our target audience, specifically the intermediate signer. Now, these services could look like this. So this is where an ASL customer who's interested in learning would go to Signsica and be able to sign up with a really easy and flexible scheduling platform. They can get paired with a trainer and be able to schedule appointments to work on their signing abilities. Here is our business model. So we have a bundle option, which is a great way to increase customer loyalty and get that retention. And I'll be talking about what that bundle option and subscription model looks like in a second. But you can see we have a pretty healthy revenue percentage. So the way that we stand out is that our customers are getting paired with a real live person who is a native signer. Also, we have one-on-one training and really flexible scheduling. So this shows that our platform outperforms all of these others. So I want to explain how we plan on growing. So of course we want to increase from year 1 at 350 sessions all the way over to 3,000 in year 5 and beyond. We're looking to contract with universities and high schools who would like to use our services. We want to create a subscription model. We want to structure our hours to be even more flexible. And we also want to provide the mentorship program with the deaf and hearing mentor pairing that would happen as part of the bundling process. We want to expand and go international as well. So our business has to grow, and the way we want to achieve this is through referrals. That's one of the most powerful tools in growing a business, is through word of mouth and referrals. So if someone gets an opportunity to get a free service or a free trial, then that is a great way to lead referrals to customer loyalty and retention. So our goal is to spread referrals and free trials. Really, Nicole wanting to improve her fluency, she agreed that if she was in high school and Signsica was an available platform, she absolutely would have used it and wished she had something like it. And she is proof that there is high demand for this. We could expand our services and really reach a much wider audience. The seed money that we would earn here would allow us to give accessible services to a larger community. So thank you, everyone.
Excellent. You ready for the Q&A?
Absolutely.
So you mentioned how clients pay you, and that was clear. But the ASL Buddy, how would that work? Would you be employing them? Would they be a contractor?
That's a great question. So, do you mind repeating your question?
So a consumer paying for the service is clear. But in terms of the ASL Buddy that's going to teach them, how do they get paid?
That's a great question. So, yes, our ASL buddies do get paid. That is an important part of our business model. How the structure of it would look is basically they're paid as a contractor. So we've worked with a financial advisor to figure out the ratio of how much the fees would go to the buddy or the trainer. So we're looking for either college students or senior citizens. College students are great because they're looking for part-time employment, and it's a way of putting resume skills and kind of those important life skills. And senior citizens have a little bit more free time and are willing to work with their flexible schedule.
So you include the cost of the contractor in those profit margins?
100%.
And how would you place ASL buddies with paying customers? Are you just grabbing ASL users off the street, or how are you determining who's qualified or who might not be?
That's a great question. So basically, they are paid. They're not volunteers. So there's a few different criteria. So first, we make sure that they are friendly and engaging. Second, we make sure that they understand the structure of American Sign Language and the linguistic structure and the grammatical structure of it. So we're looking for ASL fluency. And then also that they are assertive and willing to work with different types of people. So we make sure that whoever we're pairing with a customer is a good fit, and that they have the rapport available to work with lots of different types of people and build those kind of connections. So we're intentionally trying to find people who would be a really good fit to working with different types of people.
You're speaking my language as a founder of a business in a similar domain. Now, because you're going to be interacting with consumers with a variety of different needs, how are you going to pull up and improve their skill without a curriculum? And how will you determine quality assurance of your service?
That's a great question. Let me see if I can find the slide. Okay, well, I can't. So anyway, essentially how it would work. I'm sorry, could you repeat your question one more time?
Sure. Pointedly, clients that use your service are going to have a variety of skill level. How do you support a variety skill level in your consumers without curriculum?
So that's a great point. So we have different placements. So based on if you want to just have a conversation. So even though we don't have a formalized curriculum, we still have a structure. So if you can see here, there is the 1 hour personalized lesson. So let's say you want to work on simple production.
Minimum viable product.
Or a minimal viable product, then it would be that 1 hour session. So the first we start there, and then we expand the hours of those personalized lessons. Let's say somebody works in the restaurant industry and they want to learn how to converse with a customer. Then they can have it personalized to where the lesson focuses on jargon that would come up in the restaurant, and they would have restaurant-related signs. So to make sure that we establish a goal with the customer that we can measure and achieve by the end of these lessons.
Could you back up your slides to your pricing? So looking at this, I'm thinking about other competitors. The ASL shop is one that I'm thinking of. Lingvano. Some of these other subscription services are, $12, $15 a month. I'm curious how you would cater to, say, high school students who might not have that expendable income, and how will you offer pricing that's competitive with your peer companies?
So that's a great point. So part of it is a lot of the resources that are available right now are only one-dimensional or one-directional. So a lot of people want, and our data and surveys have proved this, a platform that can actually be conversed with. There are other really great platforms, but they're all one-sided and one-directional. So this is something that's interactive and allows you to converse with a real person. And then second was that we had that survey that was broken down that showed, that there was a lot of responses from that. And, there are some people who are willing to pay for these types of services because of the quality of services they would receive. And I'm trying to remember the pricing structure of this. So yes, $15 for 30 minutes versus $30 for an hour, something like that. There were people who were willing to pay a lot more for the same amount of time because of the quality of services they would receive. So we felt that this pricing model really matched with the customer responses that we received in our survey.
Sorry, we are out of time, judges. If you could proceed with voting.
I'm happy to answer any questions afterwards.
How did you feel, Levi?
I feel confident and happy.
Why did you sign up for a BisonTank competition? I mean, you're a first-year student. What inspired you?
So really the point of signing up in this, there's a lot of resources in the GIEI, and I think it's important to have a path. There are some people who have, there's somebody out there actually in the audience who suggested I join the GIEI BisonTank, and I thought it would be a great opportunity. And when I got involved, I realized the number of resources, plus the bonus opportunity of being able to pitch to you. So I really suggest to you, if you're a business student or have a business idea, that you get involved.
So for the 7-week accelerator program, what was the most memorable or favorite part?
My favorite part was really working with a mentor who worked closely on my business idea and gave me a lot of really direct feedback. They are really knowledgeable, and I'm really grateful for all the support that they've given me.
Yeah, agreed. That's very important. For folks hesitant on whether they want to join BisonTank or not,
As
what are
I
your
already
thoughts?
said, you should join.
All right, you heard it first here, audience members. Who's thinking about joining the fall BisonTank competition?
We need more hands than that.
It looks like the judges are still voting. So, for your pitch mentor, what was the best part of that mentorship?
So my pitch mentor, Richie, was a really great help. And learning how to deliver my pitch, that was a really good takeaway.
Without them, do you think you'd be standing on the stage?
It wouldn't have been as clear.
What is the most challenging part of the accelerator program?
I think the business world is always challenging. It's not going to be easy. So I think business is challenging. That's not a surprise. And just brace the challenge and do your best.
Before you got involved with the BisonTank competition, and now that you've completed it, what do you feel like is the difference from before and after?
I've learned about business plans, business models, business strategies. So I learned a lot. So I really recommend the BisonTank presentation competition. I'm your own plug.
Judges are still voting.
Thank you, everyone.
How is our audience members doing? Is everyone enjoying the show tonight? It seems mixed responses. Yes? All right. Looking back 6 months ago when I was standing here on stage giving my pitch and won the competition, pleased to report I've actually signed a big contract with USA Today to photograph for USA Today, and one step closer to the 2028 Olympics. And I've had a wonderful team of mentors, MBA photographers who have taught me a lot. I go to a game, watch a game, and you might think, taking photographs is just, a simple thing to do, but it's actually quite complex. Oftentimes, you're staging cameras, staging lighting, and taking pictures even remotely. So there's a lot that happens behind the scenes in photography and sports photography specifically. And then you're sending your photos off to the editor to get live edited, and then they can appear in the newspaper on the next day.
So I have to ask Sabina because I think it's really, she plays a very important role tonight. I've seen a lot of growth in her from her presentation at the Alumni BisonTank, so I'm so glad she's back with us today. So as a sports photographer, how many deaf women are photographers in sport that you know of?
I'm aware of only one myself. Now, of course, there are many women athletes. I see some of them, I think, in the room here today. But and there are photographers as well, women photographers. But in terms of sports photography as a profession, I'm only aware of myself.
What advice do you have for people who might be interested in developing their portfolios in the same way that you have, getting involved in sports photography? How can someone get themselves started?
So the Gallaudet athletic program here is a great place to start. Anyone can attend these sporting events, and anyone can take photographs, and I'm more than happy to provide feedback and support for any interested young budding photographers.
Did you experience any type of imposter syndrome in your journey of becoming a photographer? And if so, how did you overcome that?
Yeah, of course. At the beginning, I'll admit, when I would take photographs, I would be pretty self-critical and critical of my work. And I would compare my work against those that have, years of experience in professional photography. So my piece of advice would be don't compare yourself to professionals who've been doing it for a long time, and keep at it.
Other than the mentors in the BisonTank and GIEI, do you have any outside mentors that you work with?
So the USA women's soccer photographer as well as the NBA photographers have really worked closely with me and provided a lot of support.
Okay, it looks like we are finally ready to announce our winner, so I would like to invite the BSC to announce the third place winner. You guys ready?
Hello, everyone. My name is Zanabel. I'm wearing a black shirt, black pants, and I work for the Bison Student Council. I'm president of the Bison Student Council, and make sure that the relationship between students and the university is going well, and that students are doing well in their classes. And it's been a real pleasure to support the program. I think we're ready to announce the third place winner. In third place, we have Matthew Brandfield. Congratulations.
I just want to say thank you all. This has really inspired me today. I'm hoping to see my business grow. So thank you all, and thank you to my partner. Next, we have our second place winner. We have Jacob going to announce it.
All right, who's it going to be? Kylie Garcia in second place. Let's give it up for Kylie.
Thank you all so much.
And last but not least, in first place,
All right, drum roll, please. Who's excited to hear who won first place? And the winner is Levi Wood.
thank you. Thank you.
Any remarks, Levi?
Really, this whole process in the program, I just want to thank all of the feedback that I received and the people that supported me along the way. You know who you are. Thank you.
Well, congratulations again, Levi. All right, that concludes it for this evening. Our next competition will be our alumni BisonTank, which will be October the 23rd. So if you are an alumni or soon to be an alumni, we encourage you to sign up and come back for our next alumni BisonTank. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
I was so nervous, too.
Fuck you, though, because your interpretations take so long. I'm like, get it over. I can't.
I know, sorry.